Teaching responsibility. Oh, this one's such a hard topic. But how do we teach responsibility at different ages and at different stages of development? Well, first of all, let's clarify what we're teaching. For me, teaching responsibility is one, how to be dependable. So, can my child be counted on? Do they keep their commitments? Do they keep their word? Two, being responsible also means to me that my child is accountable for their behavior. Can they take ownership of their choices and with that, even own the consequences of their actions? And number three, being responsible also means that my child is an active contributor to their world. Because for me, being responsible is an active role, not a passive attitude. Responsibility requires action, and it is not something that just happens to people. Responsibility is something that people choose to be or choose to do. So how do we teach responsibility then? Well, obviously it doesn't happen overnight, and it can even take years. So how do we do it? Today I'm going to give you 6 tips, 3 do's and 3 do nots on how to teach responsibility to your children. All right, tip number 1, communicate your unconditional love to your child. Now this sounds like a no-brainer, but so many people talk with no action. They tell their children that they love them unconditionally. Meanwhile, they criticize them for their choices and try to mold them into the child that they always wanted instead of respecting them for the kid that they are. You gotta be cautious and conscious of how to express that unconditional love to your child in actions and not just lip service. If your child knows that you trust them and that you have that unconditional love and they really believe it, then you're going to build their confidence. You're going to show that you believe in them. This makes them feel capable and trustworthy and believe that they can solve the problems that they encounter. Tip number 2, set limits and boundaries on what you will do for your child. These are limits and boundaries for you, the parent. Wow, yes, because if your child has the cognitive ability to do their laundry, then let them. If they can sort out just the colors from the whites, let them do that. Because at some point you have to say, I am not doing this for you anymore. You are old enough now to do it for yourself. Setting these limits and boundaries teaches your child how to behave. It teaches them values and shows them not only new expectations, but that you are inadvertently telling your child that you trust them. You're allowing them to grow up instead of stifling their growth by doing everything for them. Along those same lines of creating boundaries, parents should not meet every need for their child at the moment that they need it. This is just setting your child up for disappointment when the real world comes in and does not cater to them. So by not meeting their needs immediately and not giving them everything they want, you provide an opportunity for your child to tolerate some frustration, learn delayed gratification, become less impulsive, and be less self-centered. Tip number 3, let them face the consequences. You set standards for their behavior and what you expect of them. Then you establish the consequences for breaking those standards. And then you follow through on those consequences. I follow through with consequences with my kids in a more of a matter-of-fact kind of manner. We talk about the choices that they made. We discuss things that they could have done better or how they would have done things differently. We plan for the next time in case the choice comes again. And then they have to just face the current consequence. Period. No more discussion. No more obsessing about the past and the what ifs. Just take the consequence and move forward. And then let your child whine to their friends if they want to, or whatever they want to do with that. But you're going to bring love and learning to the front lines so that your child will foster that development of taking responsibility. Tip number 4, don't give your child too much. This will not teach your child to appreciate anything. And with no sense of appreciation, your child is likely not going to be responsible for the privileges that you're giving them. Tip number 5, don't do too much for them. Do not be a hover parent or the helicopter parent or the lawnmower parent. The hover parent and the helicopter parent are always right over the child, and they're ready to rescue them whenever they see adversity starting to come in. The lawnmower parent mows down all the obstacles that the child can face. This kind of parenting is a disservice. Doing things for your child that they can do for themselves results in them not learning how to care for themselves. And tip number 6, don't do things yourself just because it's easier. Oh, this one's a hard one. Because remember when your child was a toddler and they just wanted to tie their shoe, but you had to get out the door in 5 minutes? So you tied the shoe for them? Or maybe you bought Velcro straps like I did? Yeah, I did that. And the consequence is that my 7-year-old still doesn't know how to tie her shoes well. I did a disservice to my child by buying the Velcro because I did not want to be inconvenienced. But now that my child is older, the stakes are higher. They need to learn responsibility, and you can't shy away from it because it may take you an extra hour to teach it. I hope these 6 tips help you teach responsibility to your children so you can grow amazing, responsible adults. If you like this video, please subscribe to The Impactful Parent and press the like button down below.